Welcome to another video, A Walk with Phil, and I'm here in West Bromwich. And what I thought I'd do today is have a walk around Carter's Green. So let's have a look at Carter's Green, shall we? Okay then folks, so I'm just outside Carter's Green. You can see the clock in the distance there, the Farley clock. I'm just standing here on the corner of Shaftesbury Street. Ahead of me is the casino, which is undergoing a bit of renovation, and down there is Shaftesbury Street. That will take you down into Tantony Estate. Just on the left that was the site of Jensen Motors back in the 20s. They eventually moved to Kelvin Way in West Bromwich in the 50s, and beyond there was another company called Providence Works, which used to make pumping engines, that kind of thing. Well, so let's just have a quick look over to the left, see what we can see over here, because we've got a few buildings there. There's one on the left, just at the end there, it says Sandval Science Engineering. That's another sixth form college for students. Big building here used to be the Department of Health and Social Security, DHSS, where it's a supermarket. I think it's a Polish supermarket. We've got a Legends Turkish barbers there, and just ahead of me there, this large building is Kingston House, which was the site of the tax office before it moved to Merry Hill in Dudley. Not really sure what the tax office, the ex-tax office is now. I think it's got something to do with NHS. Ahead of me there's the Wheat Sheaf pub, still going, Holden's. Next to it we have yet another barber's. Oh, beard trim and nose waxing, that one. And we've got a sweet centre, and we've got a Bangladeshi restaurant next to it. And there's a Zaman Travels. That's just next to Ideal Employment. There's a Polish shop just next to Ideal Employment. Just pan over here to where I am. Just pan over here, we've got a nail bar, and we have a florist. Got Caribbean and African cuisine, Chase here. That's something new, I haven't seen that before. What's the board say? It's cafe and diner, eat in, take away. Okay. Just there on the corner was the site of the Marksman, no longer a pub. Original name was the Cross Guns, but now you can see it's a Polish store and grill and shake next to it. Store here on the corner of John Street, that's closed down. John Street. See, these roads back in the day, they used to go places. John Street would lead onto a road called Winkle Street, apparently. I think Winkle Street is still there, I think it's that road at the top there. But then it would lead onto to another road called Tyndall Road, I believe, but that's gone. When they built the expressway, that's one of the roads that disappeared. This is now the beginning of Carter's Green, and just have a look up there up Guns Lane, and there's the old hot pole there on the corner. Another gents hairdressers next to it, but that looks closed, and so does Vapors next to that. That looks closed. There's a couple of stores that don't look as though they're trading anymore. I always look at this big building here on the corner. I wonder what it is. I wonder what it was. I mean, it's an optician's now, but huge building. It looks like some kind of beehive at the front, at the top there between those two windows. A beehive sculpture, but I don't know what it was. I wonder if anybody else knows what that building was. Let me know in the comment section. Okay, we're in Carter's Green. Carter's Green has undergone a lot of renovations over the years, and not least of which is ahead of me, where they've introduced a few traffic calming measures, where they've widened the pavements to give it that kind of boulevard feel. It's a good idea. There's a lot of money been spent on that particular area. If you have a quick look over this side, next to the opticians there, you can see a Polish shop, Sklep Europa. There's a shuttered Balti restaurant and another one next to it, Jacob's Solicitors. That's also doesn't appear to be trading. Yeah, I'm just standing here on the corner of John Street. You can just see ahead there a store called Decoron, which is a wallpaper store, and above there you can just make out that once used to be a pub, and it used to be the Odd Fellows. Britannia Carpet Store ahead of me. Next to that we have a DIY store. I'll just show you some of the buildings here on this side of Carter's Green, and we've got Nepalese and Indian cuisine shuttered, a Little Miss cuisine shuttered, and there's Corals. Carter's Green Fish Bar. In the old days there used to be Martin's Confectionery sweet shop near here, next to there. Look, you see some of the buildings here, they are original. Some of the old buildings you can see. We never really look at above the shops, do we? But you can see some of old Carter's Green is still standing. As I remember getting off the bus here in Carter's Green in the early day, late 60s, 70s, and there used to be rows of butcher shops along here. Marsh and Baxter's and one or two others. But they've all gone now. There's no butchers along here now. There's a craft bakery over there. That's a kind of a new specialist bakery store. There's a Polish shop just there, food store. We've got a couple of there's a nail bar over there. Next to it is a Turkish barber's, and another Turkish barber's next to that, but that's shuttered. And well, you know, they do seem to blight the high street. Turkish barbers and nail bars. So many. How many do you need? We've got Stores Limited there ahead of me. That's used to be Fine Fair. You can see just where they've constructed that new pavement area, and they've planted a few trees around as well. It's not bad actually. It is quite smart. It is very smart. Yeah, here we are. We're on this beautifully paved boulevard, as we would like to call it. There are some patterned areas. Patterned area here with a picture. I would believe that would be old Reuben Farley, the first alderman of West Bromwich, born in 1826, died 1899. And the clock there, the clock tower, is in commemoration of Reuben Farley, built by public subscription, built in 1897, about 60 feet high I think it is. Okay, just pan you round, a quick look up there where I've just come from. Okay. Here was the site of a car showroom. I think they're doing something with it here, but I don't know what. Right, we just pan you over to where we've got the Tower Supermarket over there. Alton Tower Supermarket. Yeah, that was the site of the Tower Cinema. When it was built, actually, in 1935, when it opened, it actually looked like an Odeon, but it wasn't anything to do with the Odeon. It was independently called the Tower, and inside it would have this famous illuminated console that used to rise from the pit, like the organ at the Tower Ballroom. Yeah. but it did close in 1968. ABC took it over. It became a bingo hall in 69, but I think it was demolished in the late 90s, early 2000s. And there's the YMCA over there. That's gradually got bigger as well. Never used to be that size. Carter's Green was always a very unbelievably busy area, and it's still a busy area today. We just look here to the next to the post office. We've got another hair and beauty salon. Yeah. Just behind the clock, just about round about here, there used to be a huge Wesleyan chapel that had been disused for 20 years. It was demolished in 1970. Yeah, this was where I think it was a Peugeot dealership. Now all this road now, which Carter's Green kind of ends here, and it becomes part of the expressway just ahead of me. But this used to be this used to be called Old Meeting Street, and as I said, Tyndall Street would be somewhere here on the right, but it all disappeared when the new road was constructed. Just there where the post office is and Euphoria, back in the day there used to be a store there called Pawson's, and it used to be a family stores and a pawnbroker, and also next to that would have been the Clock Tower restaurant. I remember the Clock Tower restaurant because you used to get off the bus here in Carter's Green. It was also part of what was called the Drill Hall, and I think that was built in around 1903. But sadly, that was demolished. Another part of the history of West Bromwich, bulldozed. Where I'm looking at there now, that would be Old Meeting Street, and this is now Dudley Street. Here, where all this island is now, and all this landscaped island, all along here there used to be rows of houses, and there were shops, and there was also pubs. Yeah. One of the pubs ahead of me, which it's going to be very hard to actually determine exactly where it stood, was the Nag's Head. That closed in around 1969, and I'm just panning here round here to my left. We've got St Andrew's Church, and round about there, where you got the subway here, that'll take you underneath the expressway and take you over to a shop called Aldi over there. There used to be something called Carter's Green Passage. That was a kind of a road that would link Old Meeting Street with Carter's Green. This road, Dudley Street, will take you into Dudley, and also it would take you to the what used to be the Swan Village Gasworks. I did a video about the gasworks. Check that one out if you can. Round here, where it's got Big John's, there was a factory just beyond there called the Flavel's Pattern Works. Yeah, and all along here, as I said, there was pubs and shops and houses. Interestingly, there was another pub just along here somewhere. Again, trying to determine exactly where it would be impossible for me anyway, but I am aware that there was a pub called here now the Inkerman. And also there was George Hall Motor Coaches, the father of Anne Aston. Anne Aston, of course, used to work on a TV programme called The Golden Shot with Bob Monkhouse back in the day. Yeah, George Hill Motor Coaches, it was called. George Hill. Okay, we've got the Shell Garage here on the left, and this is Cordley Street. Cordley Street is one of those roads that will take you into Guns Village up there. What we've got over here now, instead of those pubs and coach companies, are a butcher's, takeaway. and a charity shop sheltered. Yeah, just looking down Dudley Street there, where there was the petrol garage ahead of me, there's a big old house there. I think it used to be something to do with the Labour Club. Was it a Labour Club? Not sure if it was. And just a bit further down that road, there's a lot of work going on with pipeline and such like, but just down there on the left, does anybody remember there was a chandlery down there? Used to sell marine products, boats and stuff for diving and all kinds of things. Well, as a kid I used to come past there up Dudley Street, and I used to think, what on earth is a chandlery doing in these parts of West Bromwich, you know? But it was there for a few years, and I believe there was a television series called Howard's Way, and the producers of Howard's Way, the BBC soap, would contact that chandlery for, you know, bits and pieces for the series. Yeah, but it's long gone now, but yeah, I remember it. Does anybody else remember the chandlery along Dudley Street in West Bromwich? Okay, so I'm going to just show you one final thing here in Dudley Street. This road was the main coachway for London to Holyhead. The stage coaches would come along here, and of course there was always milestones along these particular roads, and there is a milestone here which has been preserved. I'll just show you. Yeah, this is a milestone, and it's got 2 on the top, TO, and that's all I can make out on this stone. But that is a few hundred years old for sure. Okay, there is another milestone here in West Bromwich. It's up towards the Upper High Street way, which I'll try and find out one of these days. But yeah, this is the one near Carter's Green in Dudley Street. Okay, that's the end of our little walk around Carter's Green. And I did mention earlier about some of the old buildings are still standing in Carter's Green. But there is one particular building that's a little disappointing that it's no longer standing, and that's the drill hall. The drill hall was probably an unremarkable building, but there was a lot of drill halls in many towns and cities throughout the country, and Carter's Green was no exception. They served really as the basis for training the volunteers, the territorials, turn of the 20th century. But this particular hall, drill hall in Carter's Green, was opened by a war hero at the time, John French, General Sir John French, and he opened the building, and it was used for, as I said, training, and there'd be dances, there'd be meetings, there'd be fetes. The building was a multi-purpose building, so it was tragic really to see it bulldozed. It was also a restaurant that used to be subsidised by the government. They were called British restaurants back in the Second World War, where locals would come and get a main meal for a shilling. Yeah, and I suppose a shilling used to get you quite a bit back in them days. I wouldn't really know, but yeah, but it was named in 1942 as the Clock Tower Restaurant, as I said earlier. And you know, of all the buildings in Carter's Green, you know, drill hall being one of the most famous, and of course also the Carter's Green had its own cinema, you know, the tower. It was all happening back in those days, and when you look now, the tower that's was bulldozed, and we had a drive-through pharmacy in its place, and then with the drill hall disappearing, what we got in its place, well, it was a car showroom and nothing much else in particular. So why bulldoze such history and heritage, you know? But now it's all gone anyway now, so there's nothing we can do about that now, is there really? So anyway, if you like the video, hit the like button, and also hit subscribe and hit the notification bell for new videos, and I'll see you on the next one.